Hi everyone and welcome back. Our next guest and speaker is the founder and CEO of Saxo Bank. With his extensive knowledge and experience, we're really looking forward to hearing about open banking as fuel for partnerships and sustainable investments. Hi Kim, we're super happy to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
The stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. I don't know if the noise is working okay here, but obviously being here in the gray and rainy Copenhagen is not exactly the same as being in Singapore. And we have a very nice office in Singapore, and we've obviously been attending the Singapore FinTech Festival many times. And I think it's actually quite compelling that in 2016, we were actually presenting and launching our open API and thereby open banking on the Singapore FinTech Festival. Now we are close to 5 years later, and I think a lot of stuff has happened in the world today. I'm not going to spend any time on Corona for obvious reasons, because I think that's more than well covered across the board. But I think partnerships and sustainable investments and how we as fintech companies can actually support and assist that progress is very, very, very important to us. So first of all, I think it's very important for everyone to understand that Saxo's vision is to enable people to fulfill their financial aspirations and make an impact. And this is something obviously we've been thinking a lot about. How can you, in a really short and brief way, explain what it's all about? And I think it's fair to say that Saxo Bank is probably one of the most technologically advanced fintechs out there. Not that others are not, because I think we see a lot of compelling solutions there. But Saxo realistically was a fintech even before the term was invented. I started the business now more than 28 years ago, and we have always had a significant focus on developing technology, which I'm coming back to. But also we are really catering for global capital markets, both for traders, investors, and partners, which are again going to dig a little bit into. But using the right kind of technology is very critical, and being able to do that on a global level, being locally relevant, being able to trade or invest in any microcircle in the economy is a very, very compelling proposition, but it's also quite difficult to do. Or I would say nicely more than half of our 150 employees are working in technology and with continuously developing better solutions for our clients. And in the end, our main vision is really that we want to make sure that people, of course, have the best chances of navigating their financial future, but also thereby fulfilling their financial aspirations. But at the same time, and this is very important for the whole ESG agenda, really to make an impact. Because we don't believe that has been possible to the extent it is now historically. And we don't believe that is how traditional businesses and banks and brokers have basically conducted their business and prepared their business model. So understanding that what is it that will allow you to really come up with the best possible solutions for the clients, I think that incentive structures are very, very critical. We are always talking about partnership in Saxo Bank. We are always talking about win-win. And that also means that we have to be able to operate under certain virtues, certain guidelines, but also we have to make sure that our business model do not pose a potential conflict of interest with our clients and partners. And therefore, our business model, which has remained the same actually more or less since we started launching our first platform, which was in April 1998, has remained the same. And that means we've debundled the value chain. So when it comes to capital market, products, services, and liquidity, we are saying, well, that's not maybe where Saxo Bank will be the best in all areas, all geographies, all product groups, and so forth. So what we're doing there is really we're working with the best in the world, and that is both from asset managers, liquidity providers, different service and so forth. So what we're trying to do is completely unbiased with an open architecture, have the best possible solutions for our clients. And also the only interest we have really is that it's high quality and that is competitive price, because that's what's very, very important for the clients and the partners in the end. What Saxo Bank is really all about is facilitating this. And that means we have developed from the very beginning a global technology stack, which, as I mentioned, we continue to work heavily on. We have more than 1,200 people just in technology, continuously developing this. And then we have a set of business processes. So when we talk about constant improvement in Saxo Bank, it's all about people, processes, and technology. And that's also really where we bring it all together, making sure we have the right services, the right products, the right liquidity pools, etc., etc. And then we package that with a global technology stack and a global set of business processes, which allows us via Open API, which was really the one we launched in 2016 on the Singapore FinTech Festival, that we service everything we do. Because in the end, we are selling platforms and APIs, whether that's to direct traders and investors or whether it's to wholesale clients, other partners. And I'm happy to say that actually since we launched our Open API in Singapore back in 2016, I think we now have ballpark figures, probably 80% of the Singapore FinTech robos and so forth that are actually working with Saxo, because we've developed the full value chain on a global scale with a very, very broad set of obviously global ETFs, mutual funds, stocks, bonds, etc., are basically the full multi-asset proposition. So the distribution is all about having the best and most intuitive platform, and then have APIs so you can work with partners so that we can be kind of Lego bricks in the complete client experience. But what we do offer is really to have a much better client experience with lower cost and complexity in a completely fully supported digital value chain. So obviously in the end, client experience, I think we all know is everything. And from being challenged with obviously many different business models, margin pressure, clients wanting more and more in terms of better support, using AI, big data to inform people, to educate them, to make sure that they have the right risk approach and so forth. That's obviously critically important to make this work. In Saxo Bank, we have developed 3 platforms. Saxo Investor Plus, which is a very user-friendly, but also still sophisticated. As Da Vinci said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. So what we try to do with the investor platform that you have a picture of here is really to make things super easy to navigate, but at the same time present what actually is relatively complex information in a seamless manner, so that we can be timely, relevant, and engaging for all of our clients. And a big part of this, for example, is that people want to fulfill their financial aspirations. So hence selecting the best products on a global level, but at the same time being able to do that at a very low and competitive price. The price alone, actually, the Danish Consumer Council a few years back indicated that, compared to paying maybe 200 basis points in fees, if you save 100 basis points a year for your pension, you can actually retire 4 years in advance. So the cost part of it is critically important, but at the same time, of course, having an open architecture where you can get the best from BlackRock, Brown Advisory, Morningstar, many others, is obviously a good combination. But if you cannot navigate it, and if you don't know exactly where you want to put your money, where you want to invest your money, you need themes, you need inspiration. And when it comes to the whole ESG agenda, I think it's pretty clear, at least to us in Saxo and to most of our clients, that the problems we are facing as human beings, as the world now, will not be solved unless that there are well-funded companies and private entrepreneurs that are coming up with solutions. And that could be windmills, it could be cleaner water, it could be all sorts of solutions, solar cells, better batteries, electric cars, all of that. But of course, it could also be within medicine. It could be within pretty much any area that truly interests you, but at the same time is needed to actually make the world a better place. So when we talk about making an impact, it's of course also to be able to do these things. But first, it starts with the experience. Make sure that you can easily navigate it. As I said, this is a very easy to use platform for, we call the investor platform. We also have a Saxo Trader Go for slightly more sophisticated people, and Saxo Trader Pro for people who really need all the bells and whistles to navigate this. But the key thing is that it actually all runs on the same core infrastructure, which allows us to be delivering the best possible client services, but also to use big data and AI to service clients much better, because client experience in the end is everything. So we don't necessarily only want to sell on price. Of course, we want to be super competitive, but we want to be better. And better also means that the experience is top-notch and that you can actually do whatever you want to do to navigate your own financial destiny, but also to make an impact in the world. So when it comes to financial aspirations, I think that everyone in the world actually are in really heavy need of having enough money to pay the bills, to take care of the kids, to have a nice place to live, maybe even a vacation home, go on vacations, make sure that you can aspire for the pension and your older years in an optimal manner. And it's actually quite compelling that even though that many people out there are talking about money being the root of all evil and so forth, actually money is a precondition for a good life. It is almost as important, I would say, as important as being able to breathe fresh air, because with no money, we don't get anything to eat, we don't have a place to stay, and more importantly, we cannot exchange our services for other people's services in a good way. Of course, in the end, the financial system and how you can invest is also what supports you to meet the financial aspirations of your life. Whether you're a family, whether you're a business, whether you're an individual or something, everyone has clearly ambitions for their financial aspirations, and having proper services and having the right solutions for that is really, really important, so you can understand the risk reward, and you can really try to plan for your investments the best way possible. When it comes also to actually making an impact, I think that making an impact is not detrimental to fulfilling your financial aspirations. I think a good way of showing that, for example, is that there's a big seismic change going on between what's called the black energy producers with oil, coal, gasoline, and so forth, moving into more electric, more fuel cells, more hydrogen, many other solutions that are not polluting, and that over time will be the true solution, I think, for how we can all live in this world, have a great life, and at the same time have a sustainable world that we live in. So we can already see how green investments have started a complete new trend. It's accelerating quite a bit. We had also a green transformation basket for self-directed traders in Saxo in the beginning of the year, and it has been performing super well. We also have, for people that don't want to do it themselves, Brown Advisory, for example, who has a good ESG portfolio, also making 22% net for the year. So I think that many opportunities to mix how to meet the financial aspirations, but then actually to make an impact. And it has been shown by Scandinavian studies that people who say, they want to refrain from flying, which unfortunately we all have to do these days, but also from eating meat, using their car and so forth. Actually, the impact for investing in green transformation is 27 times bigger. So that means really that if we all lived like monks back in the 1500s, well, actually making clever investments is 27 times more impactful. So that means, again, that's why you can and should make an impact, driving your investments according to your values, your virtues, how you like to see the world develop. Invest in the companies that can hopefully be the solution for the future, but at the same time meet the financial aspirations. And that to Saxo Bank is very, very important. And we're trying to do that with driving continuously forward a very different level of digital engagement, but really where people can explore the best way forward for them in terms of financial aspirations and making a proper impact on the world. So when in Saxo Bank, we think a lot about win-win. Because if it's not win-win, I mean, we can't expect clients to come to us just because we would like to have more clients, and same thing with partners and so forth. So in the end, it's all about win-win. So we all have to think about what can we do for each other? How can we help each other grow the business, make people fulfill their financial aspirations, but also, of course, to make an impact. And I think it's fair to say that the financial industry is undergoing a tremendous change right now. Obviously, the traditional banking model is not as strong and helpful as it was. Negative interest rates, of course, is turning everything around. Where before, if you had clients' deposits, you'd make money on those. Now you lose money unless you send on the bill to private investors. The need for technology, the need for better investment opportunities, the need to debundle and decompose investments and actually make a decision as a person on how you want to invest that rather than just giving it all away. That entails a lot of different thinking. Saxo Bank, by the way, have so far this year, we've onboarded in total more than 200,000 new clients and a combined new client assets of north of 10 billion euros. So we're beginning to see something that is really changing here because it's a much more digital model across the world. And it also something that if you start doing these things in a good way, people actually like it, and then things are moving quickly. So we are, knock on wood, continuously trying to work on this and improve. But it also means that when we work with partners, actually, rather than in the old days where everyone was sitting trying to build their own solutions and so forth, we need to partner. And I think, honestly, what Saxo has done is quite compelling in the sense that we do have global access, we do have cloud-based and microservice architecture. We work with open APIs. We can really fit into the ecosystem. And partners working with us are seeing a significant additional scale opportunity, but also they significantly reduce cost and complexity operating a very, very complex world with a very, very high demand for ongoing technological development. But at the same time, as you reduce cost and complexity and you have more straight-through processing and you can really focus on the client franchise, you actually get a much, much better client experience. And the offerings can be customized very heavily, and we've done that for, I mean, we worked on this for many years, and we already servicing clients with AI, big data, to make things timely, relevant, and engaging. And that means, you know, new ideas, risk warnings, etc., etc. There are many, many things where really the service model is changing from in the old days being someone on a telephone having one-to-one, and where also you can argue, was that really George Soros you had on the telephone there, or was it just another relationship manager? Because relationship managers are very, very important, but I also think that their main claim to fame is really to give an outstanding service to clients that deserves it and where it can be afforded. But I think digital engagement and making sure that all the data that's available to you can be presented and packaged in a very easy and understandable manner on a timely, relevant, and engaging basis. Because this, to me, is changing everything, because it's a very complex world. But if you cannot get the right information at the right time and understand what you can or should do about it, it's not going to work. And then, of course, we are living in a very, very, very regulated environment. I think it's fair to say that regulation is coming and coming and coming, and we've seen that for many years. And I don't think that anyone expects that that would reverse anytime soon. Of course, you can always hope that regulators work more on a global level to align interests and rules and so forth, because that would give a much better climate for both banks and brokers and other financial institutions, but also for clients, so we know certain standards are going to be adhered to and so forth. But also, when you build a global technology stack and a global set of business processes, well, then when we talk about MiFID here in Europe or GDPR, and I think the data protection is a global theme for sure, and the AML and KYC and all of that, market abuse monitoring and so forth, actually you're going to get that in the full value chain as well. So ensure prudent compliance and risk management, of course, is critically important to deliver the full value chain, and constantly think about how can we better help our clients and partners to fulfill their financial aspirations and to really make an impact, because we can drive change by making sure that investments are flowing to the right things. And it's a completely, at least in that way, we are still a very free world. And that also means that, of course, people should be allowed and invest into oil production if they want to, but they could invest into windmills. They could invest into any sub-segment or company or whatever of their wishes. And getting guidance, education, and information to get that with a good financial reporting on your risk, how you're doing, other alternatives, and so forth, we do believe is going to be the future of finance, so to speak, and also the way where people actually really get a democratized financial system where you are allowed and you get the same tools and the same bells and whistles, so to speak, as really, really professional people, to be able to navigate a very complex global market in very many different asset classes. To get that in a tailor-made, seamless way, so you can actually make an impact while fulfilling your financial aspirations, is really what we're trying to work on every single day. So I think that to Saxo Bank, it's amazing to be here. There are so many interesting things going on. We have many good partnership discussions, and we would, of course, like to continue those, because we do believe that it is not only technology, it's not only regulation, but very much also partnerships that allows us to work well together, creating win-win to the benefits of all of us, by the way. So with those words, I'm kind of finished now. I don't know if there are any questions or anything like that at all, if there's time for that. But anyway, this was my brief for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kim. It's been a pleasure to hear more from you and Saxo. Thank you for joining us.